We'll keep running them throughout the show until 12 o'clock today. Of course, the latest one, police have been deployed in the greater eThekwini region in KwaZulu-Natal as members of taxi organizations Santaco embark on a strike there. Various roads in the greater region there have been blockaded by taxis in preparation for a march to the Toyota plant at Prospecton near Ispingo, south of Durban. The organization is accusing the car manufacturer of hiking the price of the popular taxi brand Quantum. The strike is expected to affect thousands of passengers in Durban who will be left stranded there. Now, staying with the story, police seemingly have their hands full in Durban to ensure a smooth traffic flow in and out of the city and the surrounding areas. Metro police have dispatched tow trucks now to remove abandoned minibus taxis there in the city centres. Now, for more on the Durban taxi strike, let's get an update from our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo. Ayanda is there. Very good morning to you, Ayanda.
Good morning to you, Durban.
Thank you. Just give me a quick update. I see lots of taxis parked around you. What's the situation down there with regards to the taxis and the protests that's going on in and around the city?
Well, I'm just hearing you there, Eben, speaking about the police having their hands full, and certainly what a morning it has been for the police, both this SAPS, the traffic police and Metro police here in the Durban CBD. Well, not only the CBD, Eben, I must tell you that along the N2 and the N3, if you're coming from northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal, if you are entering KwaZulu-Natal, it's been chock-a-block from around 4 a.m. this morning, and we've been out and about in the city, and I tell you, it's absolute mayhem in the Durban CBD as their taxis, as you said, they have been blockading most of the main roads in the Durban CBD, leaving traffic to a complete standstill. I'm just going to move just a little bit out of the shot for you to see. We've moved now to the off-ramp. We're on the off-ramp from the N2 at Ispingo, Prospecton, and just about a kilometer from where we are is the Toyota plant, where the taxi operators will in about 30 minutes or so be marching to that Toyota plant, as you've said there, in protest against what they are saying are escalating prices of the Toyota Quantum, which is one of the popular vehicles that are used in the taxi industry to transport passengers. It has been getting a little bit tense between clashes between the police and the taxi operators, but where we are here, the situation is relatively under control. There is, as you see, a heavy police presence at this particular area. What they did, as you can just see here, they abandoned their taxis, leaving them on the main roads, and now you see these trucks being able to pass here. That is because the law enforcement agencies have just negotiated with the taxis that they at least open up a lane or two from the freeway to try and ease the congestion. There are people that have now been in the traffic for about 2 or 3 hours. Many have given up, deciding that they're going to return home. They will not be able to make it to their workplaces. Those people that we were speaking to, motorists, are saying no, they will not definitely be able to make it. School children as well, buses have turned away, saying they will not be able to get to their destinations. So what we're also awaiting now where we are is the meeting point, where from the south we understand that taxis, a huge convoy of taxis is coming down from the south. It's going to be met by those that are coming from the N2 and the N3. From what I last got a few minutes ago, Eben, just speaking to those that are leaving that massive convoy, about 800 or so taxis are making their way slowly down the N2 to where we are, and they are then going to proceed down this road as they make their way to Prospecton. where they will then address the taxi operators who have come from all over the province of KwaZulu-Natal, also being assisted by the province of Gauteng. We understand we also have the leadership of Santaco, the president of Santaco. He is also here, Mr. Philip Taibosh. He will be addressing the taxi operators, and they will then hand over their memorandum to Toyota. But what we understand in the CBD from our colleagues who are remaining in the CBD, nothing has changed there. It's still very much congested. It's still absolute mayhem even in the Durban CBD.
Ayanda, how does unhappiness with the pricing of vehicles become a lockdown of the city? What are the taxi operators saying? What are the justifications?
Eben, that's the question that we asked. I mean, many people were asking, if your issues are with Toyota, what does it have to do with us? And they were saying that, well, this is how they show their anger. This is how they show their dissatisfaction. They are saying now that in terms of the blockades that we've seen them coming in and just abandoning their taxis, they're saying that that was not part of their plan, and that they are not responsible for taxi operators who have decided to go and abandon their vehicles on certain roads, and those that have been abandoned across the Durban CBD. They're saying that what their plan is of every association here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, they'd asked for 3 taxis who are going to be part of this convoy coming down, whether from the N2, the N3, from the north, the west, and those that are coming from the south. Yeah. And they were then going to at least occupy about 2 lanes, which they're saying they'd spoken to law enforcement about that to arrange and in preparation for this protest action. But in terms of what is now transpired and happening in the Durban CBD, well, they are saying that no, that was not part of the plan. And when we asked if Metro comes in and or also SABC and brings in their tow trucks to tow away the vehicles, and they were saying, well, they also got a job to do, and if that's what law enforcement needs to do to remove the taxis that have blockaded the roads, that they must continue to do so. They're saying that their problem is with Toyota, and they really wanted to come out and for Toyota to see that they're out here in their numbers, and they are against what they are saying are continuous escalating prices. They're now estimating that a vehicle now is costing them over R1 million, and installments they are paying about 17,000 rand every single month. And they're saying that also now their problem is that when it comes to the passengers, they're no longer numbers of passengers are decreasing, and they're not being able to make these monthly installments. They're also now accusing Toyota, saying that of taxi violence, and they're saying that if these prices are continuing, they're now going to be fighting amongst each other for routes, for more routes. They're going to fight amongst each other to be able to take commuters, and they're saying that that is going to also lead to taxi violence. And they're now spinning things around and saying they are also now going to be blaming Toyota for taxi violence even.
Ayanda, we're asking our viewers a question today, and the question we're asking them is whether protests in South Africa have lost meaning and direction a little bit, because we found certain instances where people didn't even know what they're protesting about. You cover a lot of these kind of protests in KwaZulu-Natal. What do you find with regards to protests in general?
Well, many of the protests are even in KwaZulu-Natal. Let me personally, I think an example would be the protest that we covered yesterday when we were in KwaMashu. As you know, that KwaMashu is still very tense at the moment after those the looting and vandalism of stores and the attacks on foreign nationals there. And while we are here, there is still a very heavy police presence in KwaMashu as we speak. The number of stores that were vandalized increased throughout the night. It's now at 11 in the area of Richmond and in Richmond Farm and Lindelani. And there, Eben, as well, when we were speaking to many of the people there, because they were divided really. Others were saying that yes, it could be related. It's related to accusations of foreign nationals allegedly being responsible for some of the attacks on women. But then when you probe deeper into it, to sort of say, but the police are saying there have been no reports on these incidents. evidence. So where are you getting this information from? And everybody's sort of saying it's rumors, it's hearsay, it's rumors, it's hearsay. Again, when the children also then yesterday, all the schools in KwaMashu were closed as the school kids also went on the rampage. We also asked many of the children that were there, you know, why are you here? And others were saying, well, we saw our peers leaving our classes, and so they also then joined. And some of the other adults were also there, but why are you also part of this march? And they're saying, well, we saw people moving, so we also then moved. So, but the police were also even saying that they were concerned about opportunists, where there are legitimate concerns that people have and grievances. You will then find people coming in who are opportunists, who will then create the violence and chaos that we then see in the streets. The looting and the violence directed at foreign nationals that we've seen. A lot of people in KwaMashu, even yesterday, were criticizing that, saying that they are relying on those stores. And as soon as those shops are closed, they're the ones that are going to suffer.
Ayanda, thank you very much for that update. I'm sure there's a busy day ahead for you today. As I can see behind you, they're starting to come together ahead of that protest action to Toyota. Thanks for that update, Ayanda Mhlongo. Coming to you live just outside Prospecton, where that protest will be taking place. That is just south of Durban, for those of you that don't know. Of course, we're asking you that question. Opportunism, she talks about within protests. We're asking you on our poll, have protests in South Africa, have they lost meaning and direction? Well, Ayanda, she carries a lot of that. She says, yes, there's a lot of opportunism, and a lot of those are concerning. Keep voting on this poll, guys. Be interesting to see where we are at the end of the show. But